Rock Hudson exposes secret gay lives of Hollywood's golden age stars. Rock Hudson's real name was Roy Harold Scherer Jr. He was born on November 17, 1925, in Winnetka, Illinois. His early life was marked by instability. His parents divorced when he was young, and he had a difficult relationship with his stepfather. Roy was by all accounts a shy, introverted young man, a stark contrast to the confident, outgoing persona he would later embody. He was quiet, even awkward, lacking the swagger one might expect from a future matinee idol. After a stint in the Navy during World War II, he drifted through various odd jobs, including driving an ice cream truck, before setting his sights on the one place where dreams were manufactured: Hollywood. It was a long shot, a seemingly impossible leap for a shy kid from Illinois with no connections and little acting experience. But fate, or perhaps cunning, intervened. Roy was spotted and taken under the wing of Henry Wilson, a powerful and notoriously ruthless Hollywood agent known for discovering and molding young, good-looking men into stars, often capitalizing on their sexuality in complex and exploitative ways. Wilson saw raw potential in the tall, handsome young man. He gave him a new name, Rock Hudson, strong and rugged like Gibraltar and the Hudson River, and began the painstaking process of transforming Roy Scherer into a Hollywood star. This transformation went far beyond acting lessons and voice coaching to smooth out his stutters. Wilson meticulously crafted Rock's image, presenting him as the ultimate heterosexual heartthrob. He dictated how Rock should dress, who he should be seen with, and how he should present himself to the press. It was a total reinvention, building a persona that was the polar opposite of the shy, private man beneath. Rock was essentially trained to act not just on screen, but in every moment of his public life. His early career was a struggle, marked by awkward performances and harsh reviews. Legend has it took dozens of takes for him to deliver a single line correctly in his first film, but the camera loved him. And Wilson's relentless promotion, combined with Rock's undeniable screen presence, kept him going. The breakthrough came in 1954 with Douglas Sirk's melodrama Magnificent Obsession. Suddenly, the stiff newcomer was a leading man, capable of tenderness and intensity. This success was followed by the epic Giant, 1956, where he starred alongside Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean, earning him an Academy Award nomination and cementing his status as a major star. But it was his string of sparkling romantic comedies with Doris Day, starting with Pillow Talk 1959, that catapulted Rock Hudson to superstardom. Their on-screen chemistry was electric, defining the sophisticated, playful romance of the era. Rock became the quintessential leading man, charming, handsome, the perfect man for any woman. His image was carefully polished. Articles portrayed him as a rugged outdoorsman, a bachelor pursued by legions of adoring female fans. He was voted Star of the Year multiple times, his face plastered on magazine covers around the world. He was, in the eyes of the public, the embodiment of masculine heterosexuality, the man every woman wanted and every man wanted to be. But while the world adored the image, the reality was a story of profound deception and hidden pain. The truth, a truth devastatingly confirmed much later, was that Rock Hudson was gay. This was the secret at the core of his being, a secret he was forced to bury deep beneath the layers of the Rock Hudson persona crafted by Henry Wilson and upheld by the powerful studio system. In the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, being openly gay in Hollywood was professional suicide. Studio contracts often included stringent morality clauses that could be invoked for any behavior deemed scandalous, and homosexuality topped that list. Stars feared exposure, blackmail, and the instantaneous end of their careers. The studios actively suppressed any rumors, sometimes resorting to extreme measures, like arranging fake marriages, to protect their investments. Rock Hudson's life was a prime example of this desperate need for concealment. His agent, Henry Wilson, was acutely aware of the risk. When rumors about Rock's private life began to surface in the mid-1950s, Wilson took drastic action. He allegedly arranged a marriage between Rock and his own secretary, Phyllis Gates. This was a marriage of convenience, a public spectacle designed solely to provide Rock with a heterosexual cover and silence the gossip. Phyllis Gates later wrote a memoir revealing the truth of this unhappy, artificial union, describing Rock's distance and lack of intimacy, and the heartbreaking realization of why. For Rock, living this double life was a constant, draining performance. Every public appearance, every interview, every interaction had to be carefully managed to maintain the illusion. He couldn't openly share his life, his feelings, or his relationships. While the public saw the confident leading man, the real Rock navigated a hidden world of secret rendezvous, private parties with trusted friends, and the constant fear of being discovered. It was a life built on lies, breeding isolation and fueling personal struggles that would plague him for years. He was a global superstar, adored by millions, yet forced to live a significant part of his life in the shadows, a prisoner of his own fame and the era's unforgiving prejudices. But Rock Hudson's hidden life wasn't lived in a vacuum. It was part of a larger, secret world that existed just beneath the polished surface of Hollywood's golden age. Forced underground by societal repression and studio mandates, a hidden network of gay and lesbian individuals thrived in clandestine bars, private homes, and discreet parties. These were places where the carefully constructed facades could drop, where people could find solace, understanding, and even love away from the prying eyes of the public and the press. As a prominent gay man within this era, albeit one deeply closeted, Rock Hudson was undoubtedly a part of this secret world. He knew the coded language, the safe havens, the people who were living parallel lives just like his. While Rock himself never publicly outed anyone during his lifetime, his very existence within this hidden community, and the eventual revelation of his own truth, shone a blinding light on the fact that he was far from alone. His story, tragically, became the catalyst that allowed the secrets of many others to eventually come to the surface. Rock Hudson didn't expose them by naming names in an interview. He exposed the system and the reality of hidden lives simply by being a famous example of it, whose secret could no longer be contained. And who were these others? These fellow travelers in the hidden world of Golden Age Hollywood? They were icons whose faces are as familiar to us today as they were 80 years ago. Their talent, their glamour, their achievements are undeniable. Yet, many carried their own burdens of secrecy, navigating careers built on heterosexual fantasy while their private lives were anything but. Here are some of the names whispered about, the lives rumored to be part of that secret world Rock Hudson inhabited. First, consider Cary Grant. Born Archibald Leach in Bristol, England, Grant remains one of cinema's most beloved and enduring stars. With his impeccable style, transatlantic accent, and unparalleled comedic timing, he defined the leading man for decades. From screwball comedies like Bringing Up Baby and His Girl Friday to thrilling Hitchcock classics like North by Northwest, Grant was pure charisma on screen, nominated for 2 Oscars and receiving an honorary award later in life. His achievements are undeniable. He was married 5 times to prominent women, projecting an image of the sophisticated, desirable gentleman. Yet, almost as famous as his on-screen persona is the long-standing rumor about his relationship with actor Randolph Scott. Scott was another handsome, leading man of the era, primarily known for westerns. He and Grant maintained a close friendship that spanned decades, and famously shared a beach house in Santa Monica for many years, a living arrangement that was highly unusual for 2 adult male stars in that era. Biographers and Hollywood insiders have long speculated that their relationship was romantic, not just platonic. Stories circulated about their domestic life together in the beach house, which they nicknamed Bachelor Hall, painting a picture of a settled, domestic partnership beneath the public radar. While Grant always publicly denied being gay or having a relationship with Scott, these denials were often delivered with a certain evasiveness. Sources like Scotty Bowers, a notorious figure who ran a discreet service facilitating sexual encounters for Hollywood stars, claimed in his memoir Full Service to have arranged assignations for Grant and Scott. The sheer duration and intensity of their friendship, coupled with the context of the times and the need for secrecy, have led many historians and fans to believe that Cary Grant, the epitome of heterosexual charm on screen, lived a significant portion of his private life in a same-sex relationship, hidden away like so many others. Rock Hudson, navigating his own secret life, would have been keenly aware of similar arrangements and the network that allowed them to exist. Then there is Marlene Dietrich. Born in Germany, Dietrich burst onto the Hollywood scene in the early 1930s, quickly becoming one of the most alluring and enigmatic stars ever to grace the screen. Known for her smoky voice, striking looks, and willingness to challenge gender norms, Dietrich cultivated an image of sophisticated, often androgynous, Sensuality. Her films like Shanghai Express, Blonde Venus, and Destry Rides Again showcased a unique blend of vulnerability and worldliness. She had a long, storied career that included successful stints as a cabaret and concert performer. Dietrich was married once and had numerous high-profile affairs with famous men, including Gary Cooper and Ernest Hemingway. However, Dietrich was famously open about her bisexuality within her private circle. Unlike many who simply hid same-sex relationships, Dietrich had well-documented affairs with women throughout her life, including prominent figures like the writer Mercedes de Acosta. Dietrich didn't live a single secret gay life, but rather a complex, fluid private life that defied the era's rigid categories. While not as strictly closeted as some men, her relationships with women were certainly not publicized and existed outside the carefully curated heterosexual narrative presented to the public. In a world where everyone had to hide something, Dietrich hid the fluid truth of her desires, navigating her connections within the more bohemian, discreet segments of Hollywood society. A world that overlapped with the hidden lives of figures like Rock Hudson, where nonconformity found quiet corners to exist. Another fascinating case is Anthony Perkins, forever immortalized as the chilling Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho 1960. Before Psycho, Perkins was known for playing sensitive, sometimes awkward young men, earning an Oscar nomination for Friendly Persuasion 1956. He was a talented, intelligent actor with a fragile, intense screen presence. Off-screen, Perkins was known to be intensely private, while he married a woman, Barry Berenson, later in life and had 2 children. His life before his marriage in the early 1970s was the subject of much speculation. Biographers and friends have stated that Perkins was primarily attracted to men for much of his young adulthood and navigated discreet relationships within the closeted community of the time. His journey involved internal conflict and attempts to reconcile his desires with societal expectations. His later marriage was reportedly a period of genuine connection, but it didn't erase the reality of his earlier life. Perkins kept his struggles and his past private until shortly before his death from AIDS-related complications in 1992. His story, like Rock Hudson's, highlights the profound personal cost of the closet and the devastating impact of the AIDS crisis on the hidden community. Rock Hudson, living his own intensely private life and knowing many others who did the same, would have recognized the signs, the coded language, and the shared fear that characterized Perkins' own struggle for privacy in the earlier decades. Think too of Tab Hunter, a handsome, blonde heartthrob from the 1950s. Tab Hunter was built in a similar mold to Rock Hudson by the studio system, the perfect picture of youthful, clean-cut American masculinity, often appearing in westerns and romantic comedies. His public image was wholesome and relentlessly heterosexual. Hunter famously dated actresses like Debbie Reynolds and Natalie Wood. However, like Hudson, Hunter was gay and lived a deeply closeted life during his years as a major star. His private world involved navigating secret relationships and constantly guarding against exposure. The studio, Warner Brothers, famously worked to suppress rumors about his sexuality. Hunter's story is particularly poignant because he did eventually come out publicly later in his life. In his memoir, Tab Hunter Confidential, The Making of a Movie Star 2005, his memoir provided a candid, first-hand account of the fear, the secrecy, and the double life he and many others were forced to lead. Hunter confirmed the existence of the hidden network and the desperate measures taken to protect careers. While he came out long after the Golden Age, his memoir is a powerful testament to the reality of that era's closet, a reality Rock Hudson knew intimately. Rock Hudson and Tab Hunter were contemporaries, sharing the same pressures and moving, albeit discreetly, in some of the same circles. Their parallel stories of being manufactured heterosexual idols who were secretly gay are some of the most direct illustrations of Hollywood's hidden history. And what about someone like Montgomery Clift, one of the most talented and intensely private actors of his generation? Clift emerged in the late 1940s as a new kind of leading man, sensitive, brooding, psychologically complex. Films like A Place in the Sun, From Here to Eternity, and The Misfits showcased his raw vulnerability and method-influenced style. He received 4 Oscar nominations. Clift was famously tormented and struggled with addiction and personal demons, particularly after a devastating car accident in 1956 severely altered his appearance and health. Biographers have widely discussed Clift's struggles with his sexuality, portraying him as a deeply conflicted man who had relationships with both men and women but found it impossible to live openly as a gay or bisexual man in that era. His internal turmoil was compounded by the pressures of fame and his own psychological issues. Clift's story is less about a hidden, thriving secret life and more about the pain of being forced to hide, the inability to integrate one's true self in a world that demanded conformity. His tragic trajectory is often seen as a direct consequence of the pressures he faced, including the need to conceal his sexuality. Rock Hudson, who also struggled with the burden of the closet, might have seen elements of his own internal battle reflected in Clift's tormented journey. Even powerful figures behind the camera were part of this hidden world. Director George Cukor, known for directing classic films with strong female leads like The Philadelphia Story, My Fair Lady, and A Star is Born, was openly gay within his private circle. While not an actor whose image was sold based on romantic appeal, Cukor was a major figure in Hollywood society and known for hosting legendary parties at his home. These parties were often discreet gatherings where many of Hollywood's closeted gay and lesbian individuals felt safe to socialize more openly than they could elsewhere. Cukor's home became a kind of salon, a vital meeting place for the hidden community. Figures like Rock Hudson would have been among the guests at such gatherings, providing rare opportunities for connection and camaraderie in a world that otherwise demanded isolation. Cukor's home was part of the geography of that secret world, a world Rock navigated. These are just a few examples, drawn from documented rumors, biographies, and historical accounts. There were certainly others, actors and actresses, writers and directors, whose private lives were known only to a select few, their stories carefully guarded by themselves, their friends, and the studios that controlled them. The scale of this hidden community, the sheer number of prominent figures forced to conceal their identities, is a testament to the oppressive climate of the time. They were pioneers in their art, yet prisoners in their personal lives, living under constant threat of exposure. The weight of secrecy, a heavy burden carried day after day. The beautiful, charming, confident individuals we saw on screen were, in reality, often navigating a treacherous landscape of fear, denial, and hidden desires. This was the world Rock Hudson inhabited. He saw it. He lived it. He was a part of it. For decades, this vast, complex network of hidden lives remained largely out of public view. While rumors circulated, they were often dismissed as malicious gossip or simply went unconfirmed. The power of the studio system, the complicity of the press, and the collective fear of those involved kept the secrets buried. But the silence could not last forever, and it was the tragic circumstances of Rock Hudson's final years that would inadvertently become the most powerful force in breaking it. In 1984, while filming in France, Rock Hudson collapsed. Soon after, he was diagnosed with AIDS. At the time, AIDS was a disease shrouded in fear and misinformation, widely misunderstood and heavily stigmatized, often referred to as a gay plague. For Rock Hudson, the handsome, seemingly healthy symbol of American heterosexuality, to be diagnosed with a disease so strongly associated with the gay community was a shocking, almost unbelievable development for the public. The news of his illness was initially revealed as liver cancer, an attempt to maintain the carefully constructed illusion of his life. But as his condition worsened and the truth became undeniable, Rock Hudson made a decision, or perhaps circumstances made it for him, to publicly announce his diagnosis in July 1985. This announcement was nothing short of seismic. It was the first time a major, mainstream Hollywood star had revealed they were suffering from AIDS. The impact was immediate and profound. Rock Hudson, the beloved romantic lead, the man who had kissed Doris Day on screen, was revealed to be not only gravely ill, but also, by undeniable implication given the nature of the disease at the time, gay. His public image shattered, but in its place came a wave of global attention to AIDS. Donations for research, birthday, and public perception began to shift, albeit slowly and painfully. More significantly for our story, Rock Hudson's public battle and eventual death on October 2, 1985, at the age of 59, ripped open the closet door in Hollywood in a way nothing else had. His story forced a public reckoning. It became impossible to ignore the fact that one of the era's biggest heterosexual icons had in fact been gay and had died from an AIDS-related illness. After his death, biographers and journalists felt a new impetus, and perhaps a greater freedom, to explore Rock Hudson's true life, memoirs from people who knew him, like Phyllis Gates, and accounts from figures like Scotty Bowers gained more traction. The public discourse surrounding his death inevitably led to broader discussions about homosexuality in Hollywood. If Rock Hudson, that Rock Hudson, was gay and closeted, who else was? The walls of secrecy began to crumble. The whispers about other stars that had circulated for decades suddenly gained a new context, a new plausibility in the public eye. Rock Hudson's tragic end didn't involve him exposing anyone in a malicious sense. Instead, his personal truth, revealed by devastating illness, became the ultimate, unintentional exposure of the system that had forced him and so many others into the shadows. His story validated the rumors, provided a high-profile example of the hidden lives that had been rumored for so long, and opened the door for those stories about Cary Grant, Marlene Dietrich, Anthony Perkins, Tab Hunter, Montgomery Clift, George Cukor, and countless others, to finally begin to be told more openly, decades after they had been lived in fear and secrecy. Rock Hudson remains a complex figure in Hollywood history. He was a gifted actor who brought joy and romance to millions, a true icon of the silver screen. But his legacy is also intertwined with the profound sadness of a life lived in hiding. He was a victim of the era's prejudice, forced to deny a fundamental part of himself to achieve and maintain his stardom. His story is a powerful reminder of the human cost of repression and the devastating impact of the AIDS crisis. Yet, in a twisted way, his tragedy also became a catalyst for truth. The story of Rock Hudson and the secret gay lives of Hollywood's golden age stars that his life inadvertently brought into sharper focus is more than just gossip or scandal. It is a vital part of cinematic history, a reminder that the perfect images on screen often hid complex, painful realities off-screen. It highlights the bravery of those who navigated this hidden world, the networks of support they built, and the immense personal sacrifice required to pursue a dream in an industry that demanded conformity above all else. The secrets of Hollywood's golden age, lived in the shadows for so long, finally found a path to the light, tragically illuminated by the final, difficult chapter of Rock Hudson's life. His life and death didn't just close a chapter on a star. They opened a new understanding of an entire era, revealing the hidden truths beneath the glamour, the secrets that defined a generation of icons.